start with that familiar phrase, no taxation without representation. What does this phrase mean, and why is it important? Much like us today, colonists thought of themselves as a free people. When governments assert novel powers, this makes a free people nervous. The colonists saw the encroachment of Parliament through the prism of something called Radical Whig theory. Because of this theory, the events after 1763 took on a certain meaning that eventually compelled rebellion. Now, first things first, what is Radical Whig theory? And no, it has nothing to do with actual Whigs. Whig theory started in England years earlier as a response to the increasing power of the king and the court. Yes, they worried about it too. This theory holds that individuals within a free society must jealously guard their liberty and be wary of any government encroachment. This school of thought focuses on reviving ancient ideals of civic virtue. It holds that freedom is hard to keep and easy to lose. For that reason, when government starts encroaching, it's incumbent on a people to fight back. If they don't fight back, they have to consider themselves too morally corrupt for self-governance. Americans didn't think that Parliament had the power to directly tax them. Free men, after all, only answered to themselves, and Americans didn't have a representative in Parliament. Without a representative, therefore, there's only so much power a distant government can assert before it starts to look oppressive. By the time Parliament started passing the Intolerable Acts in the 1770s, colonists realized they had to resist, collectively. This led to the creation of the Continental Congress, where they tried to determine how to resist these novel powers. Meanwhile, in England, they continued to have a tin ear to colonial grievances. They didn't want to give up their power to tax, so instead they declared the colonies in rebellion and passed several measures trying to quash it. This went against England's ultimate interest and demonstrates how differently each side saw the argument. While Parliament wished to bring the colonists to heel, it's possible, or even likely, that if they had had a lighter touch, colonists would have relented. After all, what they were looking for was a representative in Parliament and a few other things. So it was the obstinance and the arrogance of the English that pushed several who were on the fence over toward the side of revolution. It pushed them over because of Whig ideology. The concerns in the Continental Congress stem from the view that powerful government is a very serious threat to political liberty. This is true at both the top and the bottom. At the top, power can collect into one set of hands. At the bottom, individuals who are too weak to push back against government encroachment are viewed as morally corrupt. In the colonies, therefore, accepting the increased presence of the armed forces and accepting the increased burden of the new taxes would demonstrate a lack of political virtue. Because of this, the post-war events convinced even those who were hesitant that they had to rebel, and this would eventually lead to war with England. Whig theory is one of two important ideologies underlying the revolutionary spirit. The other is classical liberalism, as exemplified by John Locke. In the next video, we'll look through how it is that his theory influenced the founders and how they weaved these two theories together to create a new democratic order. If you want to learn more about the American Revolution, click on the other videos from this series.